Good evening, all. Welcome to episode 3 of Meet the ME7. We're just about at the halfway point now. As you can see, I'm joined tonight by maybe the happiest member of the panel, James. Is that a fair assessment, James, to say that you're probably the most optimistic one of the lot of us?
I would like to class myself as a glass half full kind of guy. Definitely, yeah, I think so.
If you stop being that, that's going to put paid to a lot of us that are.
But hey, even the Gills can even bring me down. No problem at all, Tom.
Quite regularly. We're going to be going into all things you and all things football, and delving into your past and asking some random questions that I've not yet prepped you for. So that should be able to think on your feet. Okay. But the first thing I'm going to ask you is going to say I'm going to ask everybody else is what makes you a Gillingham fan? What made you a Gills fan in the first instance? What's your history of first supporting the club, and what's made you carry on?
It's all, as I'm sure a lot of people say, it's all down to my dad, really. To be honest, we when I was a lad, initially I didn't show a huge amount of interest in football when I was very young, and then I think around the age of sort of 7 or 8, I think something clicked, and I kind of started to get into it. And my dad was a Wolves fan, because Wolves were actually quite good back in the day when he was a youngster. And but he didn't go to games or anything like that at all. But he did from time to time go to the Gills with his mates and stuff. And he just when he saw that I'd kind of, the football bug had caught me, and I was really enjoying playing with my mates and all this, that, and the other. And he took me along to a game, and it was the only reason he took me really was because it was a Wolves Gills game. So we were going predominantly to watch Wolves.
Yeah. And
I just got the bug, just fell in love. And from that moment on, that was in 1987, or late 86, early 87. And so my first season was a real season of, quite a well-known one, going down with the Sunderland game in the playoffs and stuff like that. And although I didn't get to go and see that because it was too late, but Dad went, and so it was quite a first season, to be honest with you. And from there, I just caught the bug. But after that, it was kind of downhill for a good few years. And so my early years of supporting Gills were very much in the wilderness years. It was hard going, although I didn't realise that at the time. But at school, I was the same as everyone else. Obviously, at school, everyone else was mainly Man United fans, Liverpool fans. And I was always the only Gillingham fan. I grew up in Whitstable, so sort of not really in Medway at all. So it was even more unusual. People were like, oh, why do you support Gillingham? I was like, well, because I get to go and watch them, and that was kind of the reasoning, really. But went with Dad, pretty much to every home game. Was part of the junior Gills. We used to sit in the little enclosure on what is now the Medway stand. Grew up very quickly learning that I wanted to be on the Raynham end. And I still remember, obviously, my memories of Raynham end being the yellow railings and standing up and listening to all the old boys and the smell of a pipe and all that stuff. Just really evocative memories of growing up on the Raynham end, and some of the best comedy you ever heard. Things that young boys should not be hearing, but it's just brilliant. Some of it, absolutely fantastic.
It's this now, isn't it? To a certain degree, it's somewhat still there, not the same authentic sort of.
It is, but every now and again, now you hear a comment and just really make you chuckle. And there are some great comedians on the terraces. There really are.
So could you have been a Wolf if things had been differently? Could you have been?
I don't think so. I don't think at that point I wasn't particularly into watching teams. I liked playing football. I was really into playing football with my mates and stuff, but I wasn't really into teams. I wasn't really aware of England or anything like that at that point. I don't know. It kind of passed me by a little bit. So I don't think I would have. I think that was Dad's motive at the time, but it kind of just never turned out that way. And as things have actually turned out, Dad's now, I know you shouldn't do this, but Dad's completely switched allegiances now. He still looks out for Wolves, but he would describe himself as a Gillingham fan now, I think, definitely. So
things move on. Like everyone's got their sort of family ties and that. But as you said,
definitely,
unless you get to go to Wolves week in, week out, obviously, that's what I assume. If you move or if you live around here, you kind of go with. I know we say Gillingham aren't local in the grand scheme of things, but they are compared to Wolverhampton. So you've, as you say, you've got the bug, and that's what stuck with you.
And I think it's the mantra of every lower league fan, isn't it? That it's kind of the thing we cling on to, is that we can go to the games, we get to see our team week in, week out, and it's kind of the one thing that you can kind of lord over your plastic Premiership mates, is that although a couple of my mates are Everton fans, they do go a lot, but certainly was when we were younger, that was something I got to do that none of them did. So that was quite a unique thing to hang on to, definitely, as a football fan. I think, it's one of the only things you do have as a lower league fan sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, and there'll obviously still be people that will never quite understand it, but you can only explain, going to Gills as you physically can go to every game. You could go away. Obviously, the league's quite unforgiving in terms of the recent sort of years of travel for some supporters, but you can go away and you can get into grounds easily. There's no, yes, the prices can be a bit extortionate, but generally you can go to most grounds. You haven't got a waiting list or that sort of stuff. It's all quite accessible, isn't it? So that's what appeals to people that go to Gills, and certainly isn't the football, but it's the rest of it, isn't it? So let's ask you some sort of Gills related questions then. Trying to make them vary for each person. We talk about kind of, Gills itself and match days. I think a lot of kids, when they start going, they have kind of sort of routines, pre-match superstitions and routines. Have you ever had anything that you've done on a match day that's been sort of like traditional? So you've had a certain pub you go to, or a certain food outlet you go to, and
not really.
Other sort of good luck things as well.
Yeah, not really. A lot of my routine was driven by Dad, really, to be honest with you. I mean, to this day, he is the biggest creature of habit you'll ever wish to meet. I always say to people, I know what step on the pavement Dad's going to get his season ticket out, because he just does the same thing every single week. It's part of it is a ritual for him, definitely. But so I kind of go along with him. But yeah, for years and years and years, it was based around where we would park. I know that sounds silly, but we'd use the same parking space for years, and then we'd suddenly have a change up, and then we'd use the same another same one for years, and so that's changed. But obviously, we try and stick to that. But the time we leave as well, because Dad still lives in Whitstable. I live in Dover now, but Dad still lives in Whitstable. So generally, the way it goes is I'll head over to him, and we'll go from there. So the time we leave kind of always stays around about the same. And so there is routine, definitely, but it's definitely driven by my dad more than me, I would say. I wouldn't say I've any pre-match rituals or anything like that. So we've never been, although I do love a beer, we've never been ones to go into the pub before the game or anything like that. So I can count on one hand the amount of times we've done that. It's just not part of what we do, But I have
driving home to the coast, you can't stick around, can you, afterwards?
Exactly. It's always about getting out as quickly as you can and getting on the road, and so we've never really stuck around Medway for too long, to be honest. We get in, we get the 3 points, and we get out.
There's not much to stick around for, to be fair. I'd much rather be by the sea, in oyster country, rather than hanging around Gillingham. But yeah, as it goes. As much as we love it. Next question, obscure one. What is the most clear and obvious red card you've seen in a Gills match?
The most clear and obvious red card, I think it was the one that always springs to mind, is the leg breaking tackle on Mark O'Connor against Fulham. That was just horrible, really, really horrible, and the way the player tried to kind of drag him up afterwards as well, as if to say, I didn't hurt you. And it's like, you could just see, it's like, oh no, goodness me. So
that was just before, it's a roundabout when I started going back in. I was 8 years old, roughly. So I wouldn't have kind of twigged, but yeah, I know of it, but as
it was horrible. It was horrible, and he came back from that as well. It was a really horrible injury, and he came back, and he was just as good a player after the injury as well. So props to the guy for that. But yeah, at the time, I remember thinking there is nobody who's watching that in the ground can have any complaint about that red card whatsoever. But there's been a few, to be fair. I can definitely think of others that. For us and for other teams as well, that have been sort of clear and obvious, as is the current parlance, as it were. But yeah, I must admit, I do love a red card. I think it always really does bring a bit of spice to a game, and it's just
We don't see many, do we, these days?
no,
We don't see,
no.
especially not. I mean, at Priestfield, especially not for the out and out red card, dangerous foul play. I remember a couple of years back. It was Josh. Do you remember Josh Walker got taken out?
Yeah.
Barrow, but that was kind of. I mean, that was fun because I brought my daughter along for her first game, and she just thought that's what happened at football. Like, no, that's what happens. That was just an individual one, but we don't see many, dangerous tackles. I mean, we don't really get close enough to their players to make for that to happen. But
I think because we don't have VAR at our level, I think that's probably a big reason for that. To be honest with you, I think there'd be a lot more if we had VAR. Definitely.
Yeah. No, we have had a few settings off in recent years, but they've mostly been sort of second yellows, if anything. And if you're going to have an obvious 2 yellow cards, you look at our friend Hadji Minogu, against Swindon, where he just had a mad 10 minutes, and now he's gone on to do better things. So, yeah, okay. And last Gills-related question I'm asking everybody is: you mentioned talking about sort of playing football with your mates at a young age. How would you rate your own technical abilities as a footballer, and who would you compare yourself with, past or present Gills player, in terms of your footballing style?
Wow, I think I was blighted by injury. I think it's fair to say, definitely. When I was very young, I was actually I was a defender. I was a centre back, and I was quite good. I think I played for the local district team and stuff like that. So I was reasonable. I was good enough. I was only one of 2 in my school that was picked to play for the district side and stuff. So I think I was quite good, but that more because I was I was quite tall and I was quite a big lad for my age and stuff. So I think I was just physically, I think I was more. I was probably better than a lot of other kids, to be fair. But then as time went on, I discovered beer and food and kind of injuries got in the way. I did my ACL, and then I went after that. I just could not. I wasn't much of a runner before that, but I could not run after that at all. But instead of packing up, I went back in goal, and so the majority of my playing career as a man was playing in goal, definitely. But I packed up really early, probably when I was about 30, I would say. I was done. I just couldn't do it anymore, and then I did my other ACL, and I was a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. So, but early doors,
so
I was
all right. In terms of injuries, but in terms of style.
In terms of style, I think I was more Hadji. No, I think I'm probably a bit of an Alan Walker. Just sort of just sort of like anything comes up the head eye, it's going out, and
old school defender, not the ones you get now. From the 6-yard box like we did last night for England.
And a little dig in the ribs every now and again for somebody who got too close as well. Definitely, yeah.
Back when you could do that sort of thing, get away with it, and now even retrospectively, everyone's watching every move. Every tackle you make is being picked up by cameras somewhere or some.
Absolutely.
So, couldn't do that anymore. Cool. All right. That's more for the older viewer. I'm guessing. I mean,
he was a bit of a no nonsense defender, and then you kind of had, and then a much classier person came along. Chris Hope came along. If you'll remember Chris Hope, really classy central defender, absolutely quality. And then he realised that actually Alan Walker wasn't that good. But when I was a kid, I thought he was pretty good.
to be fair, like you say, Chris Hope, and then the years down the line, you've got Mr. Egan, and he was the classiest defender I've ever seen. And
it was J. Lloyd Samuel. J. Lloyd Samuel for me. J. Lloyd Samuel for me. He was class. But God rest his soul. He was absolutely a Rolls Royce of a defender. He really was. He was absolutely terrific. And we've had some really good ones. Simon King as well was another great central defender for us, wasn't he? We've had some really good players.
Like defender with the ability to put it in a little bit, but also good on the ball. Injured a lot. That could be you.
Well, in a different life, maybe, Tom. In a different life.
Okay, a couple of non-Gills questions, and obviously we're currently in the midst of the World Cup. We've gone one lot of fixtures round now already. Tell us about your earliest memories of the World Cup in terms of as a kid when you first watched the World Cup. What England in it? Because I mean, obviously there was '94, but I guess you were looking before that.
I was, yeah. My first, the one that I can remember watching, was 1986. So The Hand of God. I remember yeah. So yeah, I remember being bitterly disappointed on that one. But I've still got very vague memories of that. I was only, I was only 8, so I was just sort of coming into my real interest in football. But obviously the Italia 90 is the first one that I can really remember getting properly involved with and really watching every game. And there were some amazing games in that tournament, obviously. And we all know, what happened with the penalty shootout and all this sort of stuff. And so that was my kind of, I would say that was my, although I watched the 86 one, I think 1990 was definitely my proper induction to international football.
Take it in and understand it a bit more.
Definitely. Yeah.
We got very close at that point, and we've kind of been teetering around that sort of area since. Knockout games, and who knows? We could be talking about it in a few weeks' time as World Cup champions, but
it'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice.
And last question on that front: what makes up you outside of football? With obviously we talk about football a lot, but what other interests you got? What other hobbies you got? What do you do in your spare time if you ever get it?
I'm in my spare time. I'm a bit of a, I don't know what the correct parlance is, nerd, geek. Both, I suppose. I'm a huge film nerd. I love going to the cinema. I'm really into it.
DVD wall, do you? Do you ever got like a?
No, because I've got a wife and a kid, so I'm not allowed stuff like that. It just doesn't work. But it's cinema quite a lot. I'm a bit of a video game nerd as well. Board games, I love board games. Anything gaming related, I'm really into. I've been a video gamer for years and years and years, and I enjoy it probably now more than I ever have done, to be honest with you. So that's kind of my primary thing I do in my spare time. But yeah, obviously got family, like I say, so we do stuff together as well, and where we can. And I work shifts, so I'm kind of not always around. But it's nice to spend as much time with them as I possibly can. But yeah, football is definitely my first love, I would say, definitely.
And every man needs advice, don't they? They need a hook. They need to be a film guy or a game guy or a football guy. Obviously, you're all three, but everyone needs their reprieve, don't they, from life and work and family, that sort of stuff. And unfortunately for you, you've chosen Priestfield as your mecca.
It's a decision which I've regretted many times over the years, but no, I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, you haven't.
I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't. I absolutely. You know what it's like with any relationship. I'm going to get all deep here, but you know what it's like with any relationship. You kind of have peaks and troughs, don't you? You fall in and out of love. You have times when you're really into it, and times when you're like, And I've definitely been there with the Gills for years. I was season ticket holder for years. Then I'll be like, I'm going to blow it out this year, and I'll just go to as and when. Then there's been seasons where I've gone to loads of away games, and then the last couple of seasons I haven't really been away at all. By one fixture, I think. So yeah, I think it comes in peaks and troughs with me, definitely. But it's always there, and it kind of.
You'd miss it, wouldn't you? If you were away for a long period of time, you'd miss it
so much. Sure. My missus always jokes to me on an away game. Where we have ways and means of watching games from our digital areas. I'm all day. She's like, "Oh, you're going to watch the football today?" I'm like, "No, I won't bother today. I'll do something. I'll do this or do that, or whatever." And then 20 minutes before kick-off, I'm like, I might go and watch the football. Yeah, and he's just like, it just doesn't leave you, does it? It just gets hold of you, and you just can't. And then inevitably 6 minutes in, you're thinking, why the bloody hell did I do that? But it will never ever leave me. It'll always be a part of
the club said last year. #, it never leaves you.
It's a good hashtag because it's so true. It never will, and I would never want it to be honest. It's a lovely thing to have.
James, your hypothetical situation is as follows. So, Gills are in the playoff final at Wembley again. Just been awarded a last-minute penalty kick, which would seal the victory for them to take them into League One. but you get the chance of a past or present Gills player to take that decisive spot kick to secure promotion. Who are you nominating to take that penalty kick?
My favourite Gillingham player of all time, Sir Robert Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah, not even a
You
question.
can guarantee it was for, yeah.
He was just he was just class, so class, and that one season he had with us where it looked like every time he touched the ball, no matter where he was on the pitch, he would score. So put him in front of a penalty, no questions asked whatsoever. Yeah, definitely.
In front of the Gills fans at Wembley, with a minute to go to win the match for us. You're going for Bob Taylor, yeah?
I can't think of anyone better. That's
a very, very fair one. I'm sure a lot of people would back you up on that one. James, let's have a play of Room 101 then, because I've done this with Alex and Keane already. You need to give me 3 things about modern football that you would like to consign to the depths of hell because you don't like them, and we'll explain why. And I'm going to give you my verdicts on whether I would agree with you on that one and whether I would challenge you as host. So the first thing about modern football that you could live without, and why?
Well, inspired by the match I just watched. I don't know if you watched the South Africa game. Okay, well, if you watch it back, I wouldn't recommend it because it wasn't great. But the short corner, can I nominate that one first of all, please?
Especially when you put your centre halves up.
Yes, absolutely. Even more so. You know, that game earlier was a perfect example of this. You need a goal. You need to get it in the mixer. You've got your 6'9" lads up from the back waiting on the 6-yard lock box, and you play the short corner. And the short corner, what is the point? Because it always ends up coming into the box anyway. It just takes 3 or 4 more touches if the defenders don't stop it to get there. So I hate the short corner with a passion. I don't mind so much that the Tottenham corner that they called, and Gills did it for a while a few years back when they kind of played it low and hard to the edge of the box. Someone steps over and then someone smashes it. Don't mind that. That's fine. A bit different. But the short corner, Room 101 all the way.
Amazed how many times that worked. I think it was Hesse and Smith and Southall were the ones.
Yeah. And other teams just didn't seem to realise it. It was bizarre. But that was a good little routine, that one.
Yeah, but I think you're right in saying, I mean, the short corner where I know Arsenal did it a few weeks back, and obviously eventually it worked for them, but they played 3 or 4 short corners in a row. And for them, they were renowned this season for set pieces and scoring goals from corners. And then they started going short. And obviously Arsenal are very different to us in the sense of their footballing ability. But I'm just like, no, if you put big players up, use them. That's the bottom line. So yes, agree with you on that one, James.
Good.
Second point. What's your second? Okay,
this one isn't so much about the match or the game itself, but about those who commentate upon the game.
Okay.
I hate pre-written and predestined sound bites. People like Matterface have written a list of things. Honestly. They've written a list of things they want to say and they can't wait to get them out. And then something happens that's remotely related to what they wanted to say. And they come out with some stupid thing that supposedly they just come off the cuff. I hate it. It really, really winds me up.
Is it like, especially when, say, a goal is scored, is it like kind of the reaction to the goal?
A little bit, yeah. I think every commentator wants they think it's all over. It is now, or their Aguero moment, don't they? And but those moments were so great because they were so natural. They were so off the cuff. You know, the Jeff Hurst one, for example, you couldn't write that, could you? Really, no one would have known how that game would have gone. So they think it's all over. It is now. Is absolutely perfect. And the Aguero one was just pure unadulterated joy, you know, and stuff like that. It's brilliant. I love that. But it's the horrible soundbite thing that's obviously been pre-written. Just bugs me.
I think more so with commentators now, they're being told to, especially for a big goal, they're being so the goal goes in and then they're being told to maybe stay quiet for maybe 10, 15 seconds. Let the crowd noise go. Let the momentum sink in, and then follow up with some sort of, catchy, as you said, maybe a soundbite is probably the wrong word for it. But I don't know, to be fair, I've never thought about it that intensely enough to certainly subject it to the confines of Room 101.
I love a bit of wordplay. Don't get me wrong. I love I don't know if you saw the headline today. I don't know if it was the Sun or the Mirror, but the Texas Cane Score Massacre was rather brilliant. I love that. Stuff like that's great. But anything that's kind of pre-written and just pre-arranged, I'm like, no, that can't be doing that.
A slight segue. I did see a comment on X last night, and it was, if Lee Dixon was at my funeral, I would if Lee Dixon was commentating at my funeral, I would get out of the coffin and kill myself all over again.
Yeah, I quite like him. He's channeling Mark Lawrence. Do you remember Mark Lawrence? He's channeling Mark Lawrence, definitely. Mark Lawrence always used to give me the impression that he was somebody who wasn't interested in football, and he was watching it in the room with you, and he was reading his paper, and every now and again he'd look up from his paper, make a comment, and look down again. And Dixon commentates in pretty much exactly the same way.
Dad.
Exactly like that. Yeah, he doesn't really like football.
50s dad. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm on the fence on that one. I can't really call it either way. Last one then, James. What's your last bugbear?
Oh, it's a new one. It's a really new one, and it's inspired by the World Cup. And I think we all knew this would be horrible. The hydration breaks.
Especially last night, where it wasn't really required.
In an air-conditioned stadium at 21 degrees, and there was a game I think afterwards where it was raining and they had hydration break. Utterly bizarre. And we all call it what it is. If you want to call it what it is, call it an advertising break. But the way they're trying to hoodwink the fans and say, oh no, this is for player safety and all this sort of stuff. It is. I suppose it goes a bit deeper than that. It's the FIFAization of football, and the kind of the way that they try and weed all these little things in under the guise of it being in the player's interest or fans' interest, but really it's not. It's just an excuse to sell more stuff that we don't need, and I think that's what's so nefarious about this hydration break, definitely.
And also, why not stop the watch? Because they add on 3 minutes anyway as a courtesy. And I do understand to a certain extent having to keep all fixtures the same. Because whether you're playing in 20 degrees or whether you're playing in 30 degrees, they're still having the same breaks at the same time. What do you think about the way that it stops the game?
Well, I think that's the most concerning part of it for me, Tom. Is that if I can't remember where I saw it. I was reading something yesterday, or I saw something on TV that somebody had analysed all of the periods of momentum in the game, the momentum shifts in the game. And nearly all of them came after a hydration break. So there will be a momentum shift. So I think the one that they highlighted particularly was Morocco were really on top against Brazil, really on top. Hydration break kicked in, and it gave Brazil time to kind of collect themselves, crucially have a chat with the manager and get their tactics balled out. And right, we're not doing this. They come out, and the momentum swings back again. And all right, you could say, well, that's the momentum is going to shift in games, and yes, it will. But I don't want that to be. I don't want that to be falsely imprinted on the game. I need that to happen organically, and I think the hydration break is really having a negative effect in that respect. I'm really glad that we're starting to see the fans booing them now when they happen. I think that's good, and the commentators as well are starting to kick off about it as well. Sort of. So I'm glad there's a bit of pushback. But what's worrying is this carries on beyond this World Cup. Now it becomes something that creeps into the Premier League. And then before you know it, it's part of the game, and that's really worrying.
I don't see the Premier League fans wanting to similar as the goalkeeper injury break that we started to see. It's just basic cheating as far as I'm concerned. It's gaining an advantage. I know that they've done away with that in the World Cup, but the hydration break is coming in.
Yeah, some of the stuff, as you say, some of the stuff in the World Cup's been brilliant. I mean, the flowing of the games is really good. There's been, other than that first game, there's been no red cards. There's been hardly any yellow cards, in all honesty. Every game's been allowed to flow to the point where there's been a few times where I thought, goodness me, how have they not given a foul for that? But they've just let the game flow, and that's good. That's great for the game. Love that. And it's really, really stamped down on players rolling around as well, because they know that unless they're unless there's a yellow card, they can't have trainers come on the pitch and stuff. So there's some things they bring in that are really, really good, but then they go and do that, and you just think, what on earth? That is just to please sponsors, and it leaves a bit of a bad taste in the mouth.
It's done for the advertising, it's done for the commercial side of things. So unfortunately, that's the American isms involved in that one.
Yeah.
But let's not bring that into the English game.
No, I don't think we want it in League Two. We don't want it in League Two, definitely not.
Definitely not. No. James, that's us done for episode 3.
Cool.
Thank you for your time. Break up a little bit. I don't know whether it's me or you or both, but I'm always concerned about it's going to freeze on my face in a really awkward position. So
that's always embarrassing.
It's a good time to wrap it up there anyway. Appreciate your time, James. Looking ahead now, aren't we, to the beginning of the football the real football season. I know that the Premier League fixture release date is tomorrow, and we'll get ours in a week's time. I'm sure we'll be looking forward to see which North West club will be facing away from home in the first game of the season.
Absolutely.
As the league is littered with them. For all those watching, thank you for doing so. Episode 4 will be coming your way very soon with another member of the panel. In the meantime, if you haven't already done so, please like, subscribe. Hopefully by the next time the episode comes out, then we'll be well on their way to securing World Cup qualification for the last 32. Also hoping around the ME7 in terms of players and obviously fixture releases that I would mention there as well. 3 players in the door so far. We need a goalkeeper at very least, which we've been discussing before we come on air. James, you have a history of goalkeeping, so worst case scenario, we'll call you up.
I mean, they'd struggle to get anything past me, to be honest with you. But that's not because I'm the cat. Let's put it that way.
Everyone, speak to you soon, and up the England, up the Gills, and up the ME7.